With not a backward glance at the founder of his dynasty, the Nawab of Rampur sweeps from his ancestral home in India. Beyond the arches teems the city of Rampur, ruled by the Nawab's family for 250 years. Their rule came to an end in 1947 when India won independence. But today, traditional India reasserts itself. Democracy is falling apart at the seams, so the Nawab and other princes take to the hustings to regain power from the people. He stands for the ruling Congress party, which is socialist in philosophy. He is not a socialist. Like most Indians, he is a survivalist. In the polling this week, Congress has done badly everywhere, but the Nawab survived. In modern India, the princes have been stripped of almost everything but their wealth and the desire to exercise, even in a limited way, the power that was once absolute.
Your Highness, I imagine one of the things your grandfather never did, nor your father, and perhaps quite new to you, is going out canvassing for votes.
Well, the opportunity for both of them didn't arise. But in my case, last general election, last general election or election before that, we used to canvass for others. This time, I'm canvassing for myself. And I thought it's better that I should go from door to door, ask for votes, and also see for myself how everyone lives, what problems they've got. Naturally, when I go to assembly, I don't want to just sit there and talk about things which I don't know very much about. And this was the only way that I realized what people here want.
Had you seen how they lived before?
I had, but I had never been inside lanes. I've been to different houses, either in the evening for meals, or for a lunch or something like that, or for a marriage. But I've never been inside just to see how people live inside in their own houses within the city walls.
Were you surprised by what you saw?
Yes, I was. I think the life what they lead, I think it's amazing how everyone survives. They don't get any, either we don't have plague or something like that. And it's very surprising.
In the midst of electioneering, there is time for a show. In return for handing their states over to the Delhi government, the princes were allowed to retain certain privileges, such as their titles, multi-gun salutes, and duty-free scotch. They also get a substantial state pension, a matter of increasing annoyance and agitation in the Congress party. Some cash goes on entertaining. The Nawab's visitors are members of the Afghan royal family and have come to view rare scrolls in the Rampur Library, which was once the royal palace. The Nawab received them as peers and turned the visit into a mini-state occasion. He even arranged for a travel agency to lay on a tiger shoot. It is hard to keep in tune with a changing continent while living in a palace where the past stares from the walls and gathers in the dust. The princes learned from the Victorians to share the spirit of an age which loved the grand and saw nothing vulgar in honest ostentation. The young princes were educated in England and drifted further and further from the customs of the people they ruled. In a land of hovels, their great palaces seem curiously unreal.
Why do you retain the big house, so the palace and titles and things like that? I mean, wouldn't it really be better just to sort of...
Titles we don't retain, they are with us. Yeah. They give it. But the house, the big house, well, it is here, it's there. I mean, it's very difficult to get rid of people. You can't get rid of the servants who've been with us for years. But we'll keep it on as long as we can.
You seem to me, sir, to some extent to be coming to terms with keeping the dynasty going, while at the same time accommodating to the modern world.
Yes, I know. Yes, you are right. Yeah. Well, or you may put it that way, that these things may go in the very near future. It's better to get used to mixing with people, getting near them and getting into politics, and realizing it afterward when we lose the privileges or even our privy purses.
What I don't really see, perhaps coming from a country like Britain, is what exactly it is that the princes offer that ordinary politicians and other people don't offer. What is it the princes offer the nation?
Well, what you can say is our way of thinking as far as our own people are concerned. And when we are in a place like when you are here, we've got a certain feelings for these people, which not all politicians, when they stand from any constituency, have the same feeling. Probably some of them do have, but we've got an inner feeling for them, because these people are very, very close to us, and they really look up to us, and they've been doing it for the last 250 years. There's a little history behind our culture, we've lived together, we have fought together, and as you probably see, the politicians here, I mean, most of the politicians their ancestors may not have had such close connections with their own constituency.
Murad is 23, heir to a dynasty and a palace. He finds the burden of wealth no embarrassment.
Isn't it all guilty that you live in this kind of surrounding?
No, but actually we've got quite used to it, because India has always had these two classes, you know. They had the rich class and the poor class. It's only now that you're having the middle class, which is emerging through business schemes and other such things. So you're now getting the middle class. So actually we are quite used to it now, as seeing the people around us. I mean, everyone here has not been of the same standard, you see. And there have always been the rich and the poor here. And so to us, it's something which we're quite used to.
One who has no doubt about the advice he would give a young prince today is Cabinet Minister Dr. Karan Singh, who long ago dropped his title, Maharaja of Kashmir.
What would be your advice to me?
Well, I think I should say to you that your title and the trappings that go with it are incidental. What you should really do is to try and make a contribution towards building this nation. After all, we have only become free 20 years ago, after centuries of foreign rule, and we've got a great backlog to make up. We're a nation of 550 million people, 1/7 of the human race. It's not often realized. And the challenges before us are so tremendous that I think it would be a tragedy if we were to waste our psychic and intellectual energies upon trappings and titles, rather than use them towards the building of a new nation.
The widowed Rajmata of Gwalior is Queen Mother of a state as large and as populous as England. She has found in democracy an effective vehicle for maintaining influence and power. She was once a member of Congress, but quarrelled with them and used her prestige to wrest control of her state from Congress. She is not even a member of the state coalition government, but the ministers never make a move without consulting her. Without her help at the polls, they would be politically destroyed. She talks to her audiences like the tough politician she is. She acts like the queen she was, and she receives the accolades of a queen. The crowds who have come to cheer and garland the Rajmata have also brought petitions for help in this or that matter. In theory, it is no concern of hers. In theory, she is powerless to help. She is, after all, just an ordinary citizen with a grand-sounding title. In practice, she hands the petitions to her ministers for action. Whenever she speaks, the crowds gather from far afield to hear what she has to say. Her message is impeccable in its democratic overtones. The people must exercise their power in the ballot box. No one will help them when they don't help themselves. Yet the uneasy thought persists that somehow democracy is taking second place to an old devotion. To her, she is doing no more than her duty. As a member of the ancient house of Scindia, she must care for her subjects.
You know, our old traditional Indian ideal is that the ruler and his wife is like a mother and father for the people. So they, in fact, when the ruler dies, the public, the people of the area, they observe exactly for just like mourning for the father. They do that, you know, the shaving of the head and all that sort of thing.
Why should princes have more to offer than politicians?
Well, I think politicians of then and now there is a big difference. I find politicians, they're not all of them are opportunists. I wouldn't say that, you know. There are a few good politicians also who are sincere. I think you can perhaps, maybe that for us, it's a more of a natural urge, you know, because our tradition, our family history, and the background and the people standing by with us in all times of good, bad days or as well as good days. Together we, you know, we have fought together, we have lived. So that makes us perhaps weak. Otherwise, the natural feeling of anybody for their own country, for their own motherland, I think, I don't know whether you call it fatherland or motherland, but we call it motherland. So that I think is a common and natural thing. With background of this makes it more.
Much of the glory that was Gwalior is now hidden behind closed doors. The state carriage, coated with real silver of course, is rarely used, but the past is all around, present and waiting. The Rajmata's son, the present Maharaja of Gwalior, receives a state pension of £50,000 a year. It is still not enough to maintain the palace and the estate as it was in his father's day. Before independence, there were 3,000 servants employed at Gwalior Palace. The present Maharaja has to rub along with 300. In his father's day, there were 21 elephants ready for a tiger shoot or a state occasion. Today there are 3, and the Maharaja grumbles that they eat a lot of hay. There were once 500 horses in the stables. Today there are 6, and they have to earn their keep at a riding school. The princes resist all political efforts to reduce or abolish their yearly stipend. For in a still backward land of monotonous drudgery and no reward, there are voices asking whether the nation can afford to maintain the princes in feudal luxury. Gwalior once had its own private railway, which shuttled the Maharaja's guests from the main railway station. No trains run on this overgrown track. The princes amused themselves with expensive toys. It is 14 years since the port came by train in the grand dining hall. The solid silver engine is overdue for a service. But the decay doesn't seem to matter. It is the fact of their palaces, albeit crumbling, which seem to give the princes purpose. Their future as a class is in doubt, but without their past they are nothing. They must hug it to them.
I think any people without sentiment is, it's no more a nation. I would say that a nation is built on sentiment. And I think without sentiment, we, a human being, that is my feeling, that we cannot achieve anything without sentiment. Anything we do, even if, for me, I think sentiment has bigger value. The moment that sentimentalism and the basic, you know, the very source of inspiration, if that is cut short, I think we will not exist as a nation. It will be just a machine. Human beings, we are very sentimental. I think we Indians are, and we work on sentiments more.
Can India afford sentiment? Journalist Ramesh Thapar.
Well, you know, I always sort of hesitate passing an opinion on the princes because I really find them impossible. They're sort of caricatures from the past, most of them. Mind you, I have a number of friends among the princes, but the way the British brought them up to face this modern world, either they've sort of withdrawn from the world because they're so tired and fed up of it, or they're just interested in casinos and belly dancers, and really they're not relevant here.
How, in fact, did the British bring them up?
Well, they had this very peculiar system of residents and advisors and companions. And I think these gentlemen were all there to encourage the idiosyncrasies of the princes, make them real sort of stooges. We call them, you know, chamchas, spoons, to serve whatever policy prevailed. And I suppose to some extent the Congress Party has also used them to this extent during the last 20 years. Now, of course, they're beginning to exploit a situation of frustration in the country. Things are not happening as people expected. And in some of these princely areas, the people are turning to the princes hoping that they will use their money and influence to improve the lot of the people. Of course, I think it's a daydream, but the princes can imagine for a while that they're on the up and up.
The Rajmata of Gwalior, though, of course, would argue that she's above politicians and that she and the other princes bring something rather special to the political scene, an integrity that is lacking in politicians.
Well, if you're a good politician, you're always above the politicians, you know. I feel that you've got to be an original member of the cool school to be a leader. You must pretend that you have no involvements, but you operate at various levels through people who do all the dirty work. You can always deny your involvement in dirty work. And I think that's what all political leaders do. And I think the Rajmata of Gwalior does it with more skill than many of her colleagues who are too openly involved in the mess.
And the princes, you think, to some extent by their behavior, help to precipitate the
If
state?
they go on disrupting political life by this kind of opportunism, which we get either with the Rajmata of Gwalior or with individuals playing, you know, walking the floor or defecting from one party to the other for a ministership or for some little kudos. If they go on disrupting the political process in this way, then there will be serious trouble. And because once the people lose faith in the system, then they turn to all kinds of other remedies, and problems here cannot wait. For 20 years, we've managed to cushion the crisis. If we can't cushion the crisis, boom.
Can the princes adjust?
I don't think so. Their children may, that is if they've gone to the right schools. But if they're all being sent to Europe to finishing off schools, then they'll be finished off. I'm sorry to say.
The young Maharaja of Gwalior was educated at Oxford. He and his bodyguard still go out on a tiger shoot, and he enjoys a knock at the cricket nets in the cool of an Indian evening. He has yet to decide whether he will follow his mother into politics, but he has no doubt about his heritage as a prince. He believes he can make a special contribution.
It's a sad thing to say, but democracy has not given the people what they had expected, a democratic form of government. And this is the only form of government for India. It's just that it's not been made to work properly yet. And the princes, I think, represent what the people feel are the honest elements in the present-day India. And they remember how happy they were 20 years ago. And so they hope, I suppose, that princes can give them what they are lacking, what they wanted from independence and from democracy.
You feel very much that the princes still have something very special to offer India, don't you?
I do, yes, I do, because there are very few individuals in India who have, if they want, the faith of the people just like that, and who can organize something and can pull this country out of the doldrums that it has fallen into. And I think the princes have the biggest opportunity and the best opportunity to do something. And they must take it.
You know, the interesting thing about the princes is they would have been slaughtered at the time when power was transferred. The people were up in arms against them. It was the natural sort of Gandhian restraint of the Congress which saved the princes. And today, these same princes are able to gather votes from their people. This is inevitable in a large country like India. But to imagine that they're going to play some profound role in Indian politics, that almost turns my stomach. Because if that were to happen, I'd be the first to leave this country.
In a sense, I find them slightly sad people. I mean,
I
some
agree.
of them are the only thing they've ever been apprenticed to be are princes.
That's true. But you know, in India, the thing is, sadness is a quality which one forgets, because you can be sad for so many things in India. And the last person I want to feel sad for is the prince.
Sad or on the up and up. The princes need political power if they are going to resist the efforts of the Congress Party to strip them of their privileges and their privy purse. But some want the trappings of power because they have never been trained for anything else.